This is the top 30 greatest moments in Raw history, according to myself and NoDQ.com. The list continues now, number 15 to 11. Number 15, Ric Flair makes his return to WWE, 2001. In the beginning of the year, WCW had been sold to WWE, and Ric Flair appeared on the last Nitro. It was very emotional. He had his match with Sting, and it looked like that was the end for Ric Flair. Several months passed. WWE had the Invasion storyline. No Ric Flair in sight, so you really wondered, is that it for Ric Flair? Are we ever going to see him again? And then the night after Survivor Series, the Invasion storyline wraps up. WWE has won, and it looks like Vince McMahon is back in the driver's seat again. It looks like he's in full control. And then all of a sudden, Ric Flair comes out. This is in Charlotte, North Carolina, by the way, Ric Flair's hometown. So really a special moment right here. Ric Flair comes out after being gone from WWE for almost 10 years. I think it was 8 years that he was gone. Ric Flair comes to the ring and announces that Shane and Stephanie had sold their stock to him. So now Ric Flair and Vince McMahon are partners. And Vince McMahon's reaction here is just priceless. And really awesome to see Ric Flair back, and an all-time classic Raw moment right here. Number 14, the Radicals make their appearance on Raw from 2000. This was one of those surreal moments that you weren't expecting to see, and definitely a month earlier you were not expecting it at all, because 1 month earlier WCW was pushing Chris Benoit to the top. They were grooming him for the world title. You had Dean Malenko, Perry Saturn, Eddie Guerrero. They were all a big part of WCW storylines. And then all of a sudden, there's complete turmoil in WCW, and all four of them just end up quitting the company together. And then before you know it, they show up in the crowd on Raw, and you're like, what the hell is going on here? Like, there was a tag match, I think the New Age Outlaws against somebody, and then just all of a sudden you see these four guys just walk down to ringside, and you're like, oh my God, what is going on here? So definitely one of the most shocking moments in Raw history. And it led to a new era in WWE, because you had four guys that could really go in the ring. And one thing about WWE before this period was that you had great storytelling, you had great characters, but you didn't have a lot of good in-ring action. Now all of a sudden you had Chris Benoit, you had Eddie Guerrero, you had Perry Saturn, you had Dean Malenko, and the quality of WWE's matches really improved a lot with the arrival of these four guys. So big moment in WWE right here. Number 13, Brian Pillman pulls a gun on Steve Austin from 1996. This was one of those early pre-Attitude Era moments that really started to change the whole direction of WWE. You had Brian Pillman in his home, afraid of Steve Austin. Steve Austin was making threats that he was going to come to Pillman's house, and all of a sudden Brian Pillman pulls out a gun. So this is something you've never seen before on a WWE television show or any wrestling show, where a guy actually pulls out a gun. And then you have Steve Austin outside the house beating up Brian Pillman's friends, and then he starts pounding on the door trying to break through the window, and all hell breaks loose. Steve Austin gets into the room, Brian Pillman points the gun right at the camera, right at Steve Austin, and then the power goes out. So it was kind of a lame ending, but it did its job. It got people talking about WWE, and it was a sign of things to come. So this was a pioneering segment right here, and it was really unique at the time, and just really shocking. And WWE actually did get some heat from USA Network over it, but USA Network was so upset that they later allowed Bret Hart to use profanity on live television. So they couldn't have been that upset. They wanted the ratings, and it was, like I said, it was a pioneering segment. Number 12, CM Punk's shoot promo from 2011. A lot of people would say that WWE product has gone stale. It's the same thing every week. Certainly last year in June, late June, it really felt like the WWE product was very stale. and then all of a sudden you had CM Punk go up on the top of the stage, and then he just starts ripping in to the WWE product, and he announces that he's leaving the company and he's going to say what's on his mind. He says he's a Paul Heyman guy. He starts ripping into Vince McMahon and the sports entertainment and John Cena, and he starts bashing Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, and he's concerned about the future of the company since Vince McMahon's doofus son-in-law is going to be running it soon. So it was really something we hadn't seen in WWE in a long time. I mean, it had been several years since we had seen a real worked-shoot promo on Raw. And it really did a lot for CM Punk. It took CM Punk from this mid to upper card level heel, and all of a sudden he became a major superstar. This was a breakthrough moment for CM Punk, and he hasn't looked back. I mean, he won at Money in the Bank, and then he won the WWE title, and he's held it now for 8 months. So it was really a key moment for CM Punk right here to finally be able to speak his mind and drop the pipe bomb, and it took him to the next level. Number 11, Hulk Hogan coming out the night after WrestleMania 18. At WrestleMania 18, it was Hulk Hogan versus The Rock, and Hulk Hogan got this amazing reaction in Toronto, and I think people were expecting Hogan to get a big reaction, but the fact that he came out there and pretty much the entire crowd was 100% behind him, it was just something people weren't expecting. And the next night on Raw, Hulk Hogan came out in Montreal, and he just came out there and just stood there, and the crowd would not stop cheering for him. He was getting this major standing ovation, and the crowd would not let him even talk. And this is the thing about Hulk Hogan, why I argue for him being number one, because he can just go out there and just stand in the ring, and just by his facial expressions alone, he can generate a reaction from people. And this was just a magical moment right here. And Hulk Hogan had the NWO shirt on. He rips off the NWO shirt, and he's back to being the old Hulk Hogan that we knew and loved from the early days in WWF. So this was just, like I said, pure magic right here.